When you come to ChòpnBlọk, we have a saying, and it says, welcome home. We call Africa the motherland for so many different reasons. There's a lot of connections the continent has with each and every one of us that walks on this earth. And we're here to expose that. We are here to systematically reconnect dots that were always intended to be destroyed. That's what ChòpnBlọk is. This is truly a life-changing experience. My name is Ope Amosu. I'm the chef, owner, block captain here at ChòpnBlọk in Houston, Texas. I was born in London, England. At the age of 2, I moved to Lagos, Nigeria to stay with my grandparents, while my parents came to the US to figure out where it was that they wanted to ultimately seal their roots. They landed on Houston, so about 8 months later, they sent for me and my brother. And from that point on, I had to live with that duality complex of growing up in a traditional Nigerian household, yet stepping out in society and trying to just figure everything out with people who didn't necessarily come from the same background I come from, understanding the norms of the place that I now live. I played sports growing up. I had to think about, if I was gonna do anything other than play sports professionally, what would that be? It'd probably be business. When I graduated from business school here at Rice University in Houston, got into the oil and gas space, I just kind of felt like there was still something more for me to go after. I also, at one point in time, lived in the Northeast. That's really where I got exposed, or it really kind of just hit me of how well and how progressive the hospitality scene was in that part of the world. And not just any form of hospitality or restaurants. It was stories being told by various immigrant communities, and they were able to get other people to listen. So as I had my corporate career on the side, I spent years testing out recipes, learning from West African home cooks, because those are who I felt make the best versions, the best renditions of these dishes that we culturally all love.
So we're gonna be working on a few different dishes today. See our puka in the process. Also gonna be making some of our Polo Club suya. Suya is something that we take very seriously in West Africa. Those beef skewers, amazing. Also, it's not a West African restaurant if we can't play with some jollof. So got some jollof for you as well.
I just couldn't shake it anymore. I ended up driving to a conference. I saw a sign for an Italian street kitchen, and it was at that point where I said, you know what, this is it. I'm actually gonna go ahead and create the first contemporary, modern West African inspired restaurant concept to share the beauty of my culture and ultimately reshape society's daily routine through the beauty of West Africa and the food that we have to serve. And then from that point, I was off to the races. Similar to how some people like to go into food trucks for what I thought was the right step for us, I thought the food hall made the most sense. And so that's how we ended up getting that opportunity to go to the Post. I would grow up going into spaces like the Post and never would expect to see myself represented in those spaces. And so it was important to me that if that was a building that was meant to be a cultural hub, a true representation of what Houston has to offer, then the community I come from needs to be front and center. I landed on good food and good music as a great platform to tell our stories of who we are as a Black and African diaspora, and that's what ultimately led to me creating ChòpnBlọk. Chop means to eat. Block is like a location. When it comes down to making my own recipes, I'm thinking back to those experiences, trying to figure out how we can educate our guests. For example, our jollof rice. It's often said that jollof is the precursor to Southern jambalaya. Buka is our take on native Nigerian or West African red stew. And we do some short ribs. So taking those influences to think about ways that we can, maybe present these classic dishes in a different light. I've had the opportunity to live in various different countries. I've had the opportunity to live in various different cities within this country. I truly can see and appreciate the diversity, the know-how, the lifestyles that the immigrant communities bring. I think the immigrants are the beauty of the city. My calling in life has been very clear to me as I've entered into this chapter I'm currently in, and it is to be a champion for my community. Our community is our family, so it means a lot on so many levels. Anything is possible with the right intention, with moving the right way, with having the big dreams, but ultimately doing the work and going after it. Anything is truly possible.